Hi, welcome to another one of our videos, and today we're going to be looking at several versions of the walking lunge. So this is a very popular exercise, because it really gives a blast to the legs. Great warm-up if you are quite strong and you're used to doing it. So I've got one of our trainers, Dylan, here, who's going to go through several versions of this. So this is obviously the body weight version, and you'd want to be certain that your technique's pretty solid with this before you try and do anything harder. And you can see his technique's pretty sound. He's not trying to do anything super hard with this, but pretty much that's exactly what you're looking. Look for right angles. You're not like moving around side to side or collapsing forward. Taking pretty big strides. Probably the biggest mistake I see with this usually is people don't take big enough strides. They're sort of a bit short. So that's the first thing you want to do with it. So logically, to make this harder, the next thing you'd want to do is add some weight. That's always the first progression that people think of. So Dylan's here is showing us a version with dumbbells. Now, dumbbells are probably the safer way to go, but I actually sort of prefer to go a barbell, which we'll show in a second, just for the reason that you can get sloppy with dumbbells. What I mean by that is if he's here, he can sort of really hunch over and get a bit lazy, rock side to side even, so he can sort of get away with these little fundamental errors because maybe he's not concentrating, or maybe he's just simply not strong enough or flexible enough even through the hips to be able to control the movement with load. That's the problem I sometimes see with dumbbells, because this exercise is easily abused at times. Very popular one in group training sort of methods. And this is also great for home stuff, so this is one of the reasons why I'm showing this video. So this next one, I'm going to show you a couple of versions with a barbell here. Obviously we could put it on our back, over your head, and put it on your shoulders, but it's a little bit like the dumbbells. You can get a little bit sloppy with that. So whereas if we use like a technique which we would normally use, say, for a front squat, where we actually place the bar onto your shoulders like Dylan's got here, and this is what we call a clean grip. This one very, very challenging, and now you cannot get sloppy with it. Dylan hasn't got any load on this bar, but understand this bar's 20 kilos, so it's not exactly nothing. If he had the load on it, we would probably have at least 20, 30, 40 kilos on the bar there. This position here, you can already see the difference from this with the dumbbells. You can sort of see how he's forced into remaining upright, so his body needs to stay in extension, all right? So, and see how his elbows are pointing forward. If at any point they start to point down like that, the bar's going to go forward, all right? He's going to lose control over this. And the other thing with the bar is it just really keeps you honest, almost like a spirit level. You can sort of sense, especially when there's load on it, that if there's too much weight to one side because you're moving around too much the legs, you will make a mistake with this. This is so much more difficult. Now, not everyone has a barbell at home. Hardly anyone has a barbell at home, so it's a pretty difficult one to do if you're not in a gym environment. But if I really wanted to spend time for someone getting to really understand how the lunge works, and really take their strength to another notch, I'd do it like that. And if I really want to go even further, I'm going to do it overhead. All right, so this now actually demands even more thoracic extension than the last one, and I would definitely have to make the load a lot less. And you can sort of see he nearly made a mistake then. All right, so every little thing has to be perfect. He can't get lazy with his posture. He has to think tall, tall, tall. He can't look at what his feet are doing. He has to be perfectly well balanced through every step and trust that he's got the strength and the capacity to handle it. So this is a very advanced exercise and an excellent one to use for developing strength in the total body, not just through the legs. All right, so that's we've looked at the body weight, we've looked at the dumbbell, we've two barbell ones, so now we're going to look at a medicine ball version. So there's a couple of versions of this. Medicine balls are quite unique, they're quite handy. I'm just going to speed this up so we can get Dylan into position. All right, so this first one, a bit like the last one there, this is a way that you could enhance your posture using a medicine ball. And basically you're trying to rest it on your neck there. So because it's round and it's heavy and it's going to try and roll off your back, and so it forces you to to remain in that perfect posture. Again, you can't get sloppy with it like you were with the dumbbells, or definitely like with body weight. So the load is not necessarily the thing that makes it hard here. It's the posture that you need to have. All right, so that's a great one for someone who's got a medicine ball at home. Another version of a medicine ball exercise is, I'm just going to get him to move along here again. Actually, yeah, here we go. This is where we're going to do a rotation to it. All right, so what he's going to do is he's going to rotate it to one side. Now the side you move it to is the leg that goes in front. So see how he'll move it to that side and it'll go right over his head. And it's as if he's going to throw it on the ground, because the progression to this is to definitely throw it on the ground and build into some explosiveness into it. You can see how if he really, this is quite a light ball, it's only 6 kilos, but if we were using a 10 kilo ball, we would actually ask him to slam it into the ground really hard. All right, so that's a great progression that you could use with medicine ball, and it really develops the obliques into it, a bit like a wood chop. So we're sort of getting these spiral patterns through the obliques and even through the posterior sling, so going that way. So it's a great variation that you get from medicine balls that you can't get with all the other ones, where the trunk is sort of pretty stable throughout. This one's asking the trunk to become a little bit more mobile as such. Now another version, this is where we come back to the body weight. I could add dumbbells to this, probably a bit too awkward with the barbell. Even the medicine ball probably could add it. This is where we start to add a bit of agility to it. So instead of going in a straight line, we'll go in diagonal lines. And you'll see how his back foot has to pivot around. So this is a great one for sports, where you're sort of trying to practice like change of direction sort of movement. So this is, again, you're trying to make this one faster. All right, so the other ones are more controlled because there's load applied. This one, we've removed the load, but we've made it more complex. All right, so you would definitely try to add some speed to that, and that would make it a lot more of an athletic drill. Now I've saved the best one for last. The last two are the hardest ones. The backward lunge. So this is a lot harder than it looks. A lot more quadricep strength needed in this one to push back like that. All right, so for a person with knee pain, probably not a good choice. Probably all of them are not a good choice if you've got knee pain, but this one very, very difficult, and it actually forces you to stay upright again. So you'll see when he pushes up right here, see if he's leaning forward at all, if his head's there, like how some people get sloppy, he won't have enough strength to be able to push back, because it's all being done by the quads that's pushing him back, and his back extensors go into extension, because that's the only way that he'll be able to get into that. All right, so that's a great sort of variation. So you could do like with the very first one, we did a forward body weight one, and then go a backward body weight one if your technique was good enough for it. This brings us to the last one, and this one's the low walking lunge. So Dylan wasn't looking forward to this one. So in this case, you're not allowed to stand up, and you can sort of see he does cheat on this a little bit, which is understandable considering how many he's just done in a row. But you're trying to stay really close to the floor. So at no point do you want to actually stand up. You can sort of see how he's risen up there a bit. You actually got to try and stay really low, and this just loads up the quads in a massive way. So if you're looking for a challenge from the lunge and you don't have weights, try this, and trust me, you will know all about it. All right, so there's some versions of the walking lunge you can try, and yeah, I hope you've enjoyed that video, and we'll see you on our next one.